Ethereum ETFs were never supposed to earn yield. They were meant to just sit there and track price. This week, that changed. Welcome back to Black Room Trade. In this playlist, we don't predict price, we break down market narratives and explain the environment traders are operating in. Today, we're going to start with Bitcoin, then walk through why Ethereum ETFs earning yield, plus a quiet MSCI decision matters more than they look. As always, let's start with Bitcoin. Price is hovering around 92K, moving sideways inside of a wide range, which tells us the market isn't panicking, but it's also not confident enough to trend. Under the surface, leverage is still heavy. Total open interest is sitting at around 60 billion, meaning a lot of traders are still using borrowed money. Funding rates are slightly positive, so longs are comfortable but not reckless. Over the past 24 hours, more than 430 millions in positions were liquidated. Most of them were long, which usually clears out weak hands and slow momentum. When you look at the liquidation heat map, there's a clear buildup of liquidity between 91,000s and 94,000s. Now, the area price often gets pulled towards because that's where forced order sits. On the institutional side, Bitcoin ETF now holds over 123 billion in assets. After strong inflows earlier this week, we're seeing a small pullback. Put all the information above together, you get an active market with leverage still in play and institutions still involved. Before we get into Ethereum and Wall Street, it's important to understand the backdrop. Parts of crypto infrastructure are still being tested. Over the past few days, Starknet, one of Ethereum Major's Layer 2 network, experienced multiple mainnet outage, with downtime lasting more than 2 hours at a time. This didn't exactly crash the market and it didn't cause STRK to dump, but that's not the point. These incidents slowly change behaviors because developers are going to slow down, traders are going to hesitate, which in the long run, capital will become more selective. Now here's the shift that actually changes incentives. This week, Grayscale Ethereum ETF became the first in the US to distribute staking rewards. Before this change, Ethereum ETF were not staking at all. Here's where most people naturally get confused, so let's slow it down. If you buy ETF, you do not receive Ethereum in your wallet. You don't need to opt in, and you don't have to lock anything up. Instead, the staking rewards flow into the ETF itself. In Grayscale case, those rewards were converted into cash and distributed to shareholders based on how many shares they held on the record date. So the benefit shows up as cash distributions or improved fund value over time. Around the same time ETF began staking, Ethereum staking queue cleared. So what are staking queues? Ethereum limits how many validators can enter or exit staking at once. This is a safety feature. So when too many people want to stake or unstake at the same time, queues formed, and sometimes lasting days or weeks. Those queues didn't clear because staking failed. They cleared because pressure eased and the system caught up. And the reason why this matters is because when queues are short or empty, capital doesn't feel trapped. Validators can now enter or exit more predictably, and risk manager feels more comfortable, especially for institution ETFs. That flexibility matters a lot. It makes staking operationally safer and easier to justify. So when you put these two pieces of information together, that's not really a hype right there. That's a structural upgrade. And here's the quiet institutional signal that ties everything together. This week, MSCI decided not to exclude companies like MicroStrategy from its major index. The reason why that matters is because index like MSCI aren't opinions. They're rulebooks, meaning there's trillions of dollars tracking them. When a company is removed, many funds are forced to sell, not because they want to, but because they have to. By choosing not to exclude these companies, at least for now, MSCI removed a potential forced selling risk. They didn't endorse Bitcoin, but they didn't promote it either. But there's a nuance worth understanding. And this is where people can misread the headline. The truth is, MSCI didn't fully bless this model. What they're simply saying is that right now, they're reviewing how companies whose balance sheets are dominated by assets like Bitcoin should be treated going forward. That review could eventually affect the things like index weighting. And what that really means is that the immediate pressure is gone, but the rules are still being refined. It doesn't really shut the door. It kind of just kept institutions cautious while the framework gets sorted out. And in institution finance, a pause instead of a rejection is often how acceptance actually begins. So when you zoom out, nothing here feels explosive, but none of it feels accidental either. You've got leverage still in the system, infrastructure still improving itself, Ethereum quietly turning passive exposure into something that earns, an institution choosing to adjust rather than draw hard lines. All right, that's what I have for you guys today. And if you feel like I missed anything, feel free to drop a comment. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.